everybody, it's me, Laura, and today we're going to be doing a spontaneous freeform kind of tutorial. I decided I wanted to sit down and just take some clay and create. Pull it out of the sky, if you will. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. Now, the first thing I want to address is my tools. And I have my tissue blade, my Exacto knife, my burnisher, and my needle tool. Those are generally my standard go-to tools right off. In fact, most of the time, if you're going to give me tools that I absolutely have to have, it's these first 4 tools that I have here. Now, the next thing is that 5th tool there. I don't usually use this tool. It's usually a sculpting tool, but I wanted to try something new, and so we're going to start with this one. So right away, I'm going to start out with a ball, and I did not measure this. I just went for it, right? When you're just sitting down and you want to just create freeform and just enjoy the process, that's what you do. You don't necessarily measure everything. And so I just say, take some scrap clay. Like I said, I had glitter clay in this. There was some glitter and some extra just brown clays I don't usually use. I thought, let's throw this together and create some forms. And that's what I'm doing here in this segment. In fact, for the next little bit, you're going to be seeing me just create. I'm just going to enjoy it and have fun with the process. And in that vein, I'm going to try something a little different here. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys just watch my hands talk through most of this and enjoy the process of me creating and doing sculpture freeform. All right, so now we're going to start creating, or I should say painting these things. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to start painting all three of these forms in my matte black acrylic paint. And I want to do this so that I'm going to be applying metallic paints to all three of these forms. I love those metallic paints. They give such a great shine. And I'm not, how do I put this? I'm not a big one for doing a lot of shading and everything. I just want to have a fun kind of vibrant kind of form that I get. And so that's why I've really gone to those metallic paints. So what I'm going to be using here in the metallic paints, I'm going to be using like my Colorshift paints, which is like my Pastel Blue, my Plum Flash, my Aqua Flash, and my Emerald Flash. And then I'm also going to be using my standard metallic paints of my Violet Shimmer, my Golden Touch, and my Sequin Black. And, you know, using those paints are just pure joy. I would normally, you know, I would go ahead and play with some of the fine tech, and I probably should a little bit more, but I just love my acrylics so much, I keep going back to them. And I just have so much fun with them. I'm like, oh, let's do more, let's do more. So right in here, for the most part, and through the rest of this video, I'm just going to be doing the metallics in each of these. I'm also going to be going where I kind of like to follow the lines of the form. So I have some really deep crevices in this, you know, when I'm using those sculpture pieces, and, or I should say those sculpture tools. Here's the thing, when I go to do that, I create not only just those deep crevices, but it's also trying to get a nice line in those areas. And you use the indented areas to your advantage. You're going to see that a lot, especially in this form right here, where I've got, you know, where I used that burnisher tool just above that little eyeball area where it was indented in all those little segments. I take that, I'll use a green in there, and I'll bring it down into the very edges of where those indented places were. And it really offsets it, and it really gives it a nice detail that you just really can enjoy. I do want to address my white, you know, matte acrylic paint here that I'm putting in. You'll kind of see that as I, you know, I put in that nice purple, or I should say that shimmer, that violet shimmer on around the eye, and then I had that aqua flash that went in underneath, and now I'm bringing in this white, and I'm doing this so I can really define between those dark, you know, that dark black and then all this color. I need to add in the white, but I get kind of sloppy. And I get sloppy in here because I'm trying to get into the piece. It's, you know, it's embedded in. And I'll have to go back with my shimmer and with my aqua and redefine up the line around that eyeball piece. And that's what I wind up doing a lot of times when I'm, you know, when I'm trying to get into a real creviced area. Sometimes you can't help it. You're going to wind up, you know, getting that paint that you wouldn't normally want to have somewhere. You're going to have to go back over it with some of your metallic paints. But again, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I finish off painting this section, or I should say this creature, and then moving on to the next. All right, so on the snake creature, I decided to go with that plum flash. I really like the look of it. It's got a nice gold effect when it's tilted a certain way. And so it's got the purple gold, and I thought, let's go ahead and put that in the middle section of the body on this thing. And the thing is, with this particular piece that I'm doing, there's some nice indents that I used, or I should say I created, with that new tool I had used. And I really liked it. I thought, okay, let's go ahead and use that to our advantage. So I also added in my Golden Touch Gold in there and kind of just made the dot, and then I did like a white, accent piece right inside of that. So this was really kind of a fun little creature, and then I went with my nice kind of bluish and greens at the very end on the tail. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and I'll let you guys once again watch my hands talk as I create up this second creature. All right, so my third creature, which is kind of like my plant creature, if you will, is this foliage I kind of made. It's kind of like, well, make-believe foliage. Anyways, I brought in that emerald green flash. I thought, let's go ahead and do that on one of the main bodies here at the very bottom. The big thing I found with doing some of this painting when it came to these creatures was making sure that whatever color I used, and especially if I'm trying to keep my palette at a certain kind of set of colors, is that whatever paint or whatever color I've used on one section, I don't use that same color right next to it. I want to be able to vary it up so that I have like, I have a green here, I have a purple here, and then a blue, and not have a green and then, I've got to do a green right next to it again. No. You want to be able to vary it up so that you can really see the dynamic between the different sections of the piece that you just went ahead and sculpted. So right here, like I said, I'm doing that emerald green flash, which I am so loving these metallics. I can't tell you, they are so much fun. And I'm just painting it up to the best of my ability here. And then I'm going to come in with that shimmering violet, that violet shimmer. I'm going to put that kind of into the piece right next to this green here. And we're going to have just a lot of fun with this. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and again, let you guys watch my hands talk as I paint up the rest of this piece. Now, in adding all of this metallic paint into these little creatures, I really loved how they looked. However, they needed an extra detail to really make these things pop, and that wound up being my white acrylic paint. You know, I have to go back to that light on that dark. I have to go back to, even on my yellow here. Those little dots make a huge difference. It really brings the interest into the piece. Oh, so much. I mean, it makes it where you actually want to look at it more. And that's what you really need to strive here for. You need to find a way to bring in detail to something, especially when you have something where it's all in metallics. If it's all in metallics, that's great, but make sure you have something that punches it up just a little bit more, and that's where my white acrylic paint came in. All right, now that I got all of my little painted white dot details in, I decided to bring in my rhinestones as well. And I had a couple of little rivioli, I think is what they call it, glass stones as well. And especially for the bigger, hold areas in the creatures, this made such a wonderful, nice added feature to them. So from right here, I'm just going to go ahead and glue in some of those rhinestones and finish up these pieces. All right, so this is the end result in creating my spontaneous little creatures in polymer clay. Please use this for study and reference. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.